I'm Andrew Springer, and joining me today is Catherine Krinko, Mistress of Ceremonies for the Vagina Monologues, and Emily GWeekly, who is the director of the Vagina Monologues. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about the play, the Vagina. I've never seen it.
Oh.
So what should somebody expect going in for the first time? A Vagina Monologues virgin, if you will.
Wow. Well, it's a really good experience if you're a virgin. It's a show that was written by Eve Ensler 10 years ago. This is the 10th anniversary of the Vagina Monologues.
Only 10 years.
Only 10 years.
Only 10 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, it's
What a
pop
popular
cultural
song.
icon.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
a song, but not a song, but a play.
But yeah, so the show it's different women's, a bunch of women were interviewed, and it's kind of a amalgamation of all those interviews about their vaginas and how they feel about them and women's stories about them. And there's like a big spectrum of representing different women's lives. So like there's an older woman, there's a younger woman. It addresses issues like rape and domestic violence, being queer, and finding out, exploring your sexuality and all that kind of stuff. So it's really cool. Some of it's really outrageous, some of it's really sad and kind of tough to see, but important to see, and some of it's really funny.
What's your favorite moment in the show?
Oh man, there's the closing monologue. I don't want to ruin anything, but the closing monologue features about 20 different kind of orgasms. And it's so funny because you can be sitting on stage and just see everyone reacting because they all have seen these kind of orgasms before. It's just hysterical. It's
Are
really
they
great.
explained? I mean,
Well, they're giving like a little title and then they're enacted. You know, you can't do this show without orgasming a few times on stage. So it's a really great piece.
it's kind of like, now I've got to disclose to you all that I was in, we were in Rocky Horror together this past, in the interest of full and fair objective journalism. MJ, what was your favorite moment? What's your favorite moment in the show?
My favorite moment is, wow, I definitely like the moaner, and when she does her surprise triple orgasm moan. But I also like the more serious pieces. I really like the piece about the older woman because I think that's, like, older sexuality is not talked about a whole lot, and I think that's really important to talk about.
Also, the interviews that took place between the older women were just so interesting because so many of them had never been asked about their vaginas before. It's so commonplace now to talk about your sexuality. But for these older women, it's the first time that they've ever had to express themselves about their sexuality or even if they had any sexual experiences. So it's really interesting to hear what comes out in these monologues.
Are these verbatim, what these people actually said?
Sometimes, and it's usually like a conglomeration of a bunch of different monologues. It's really interesting because Eve Ensler writes a couple, I guess just descriptions of how the monologues came to be that are said during the show. And she said that's really great to see the ties that through each interview that there are a lot of similar topics that were discussed, and that's kind of at the root of the Vagina Monologues, I think, because like even if you don't have a vagina, you can completely relate to the monologues, and it's just kind of like the things that tie us together, like as women and then also as humans, and it's really cool. It's a really in-depth piece actually, because I mean a lot of people laugh and they're like, haha, the Vagina Monologues, but when you go see it, you definitely feel empowered and you feel a little bit closer to the people sitting next to you. I mean, even if that's a little awkward, it's really fun.
I feel closer just sitting next to you.
Yeah, so do we.
MJ, what about you? I mean, do you really feel like this connects with people? Is it about humanity? Is it, I mean...
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's about like understanding your body and getting in touch with that and understanding other people's stories and knowing where they're coming from. And it's an interesting experience because, I mean, there are some chorus pieces where there's a bunch of people on stage, but they're monologues. So it's one person up there just telling their story. There's not a whole lot of blocking or like stage setup or anything. It's like scenery. It's just this person saying this monologue, just saying, you know, whatever is in their heart or whatever, and it's very interesting to kind of connect, to have the whole audience connect with this one person and just be listening to this story. I think it's pretty cool.
Well, but I understand, we were talking about this right before the show. I can't be in the show.
No.
Sorry.
Why not? Explain to the viewers why I can't be in the show.
Well, there's a kind of a list of rules that Eve Ensler has written out for the show, and one of them is no men are allowed in the show. Because it's supposed to be for women, you know, about women, by women, because men don't have vaginas, and they can't. I mean,
Sorry.
you can
In case you didn't know, you don't have a vagina.
like you can understand the human experience of it and stuff, but it's really about coming. It's these women are performing the stories of other women, but they're women, but they're also talking about themselves in a way and connecting to it directly. So I think that's really important.
Is this controversial? Is this controversial for this campus?
The show
Yeah.
or not having men in it?
No, I mean, no, the show.
The show has been pretty controversial on campus before. We've had some protesters outside the
Protesters from where? I mean,
well, the GW Republican women have it in their charter that they want to get the Vagina Monologues off campus because they think that it's degrading to women and exploiting them, which is pretty much the opposite of that. But so they are one group that we know outwardly doesn't like it. But last year, I directed the show last year, and we didn't have any problems really. I think people are really starting to embrace it on campus, and they look forward to it every year. And we've gotten a big following of people.
I think a part of that has to do with that Vagina Monologues ties into Love Your Body Week, which is something that takes place nationwide on all college campuses. And it really, I mean, it's self-explanatory. It's really just a week that focuses on loving your body no matter what state it's in. And so the Vagina Monologues really ties into that well. So I think that we've gotten actually a lot of support from student orgs on campus, which is pretty great. Didn't we have Panhell, the National Panhelletic Council, help us out last year?
I'm not entirely sure. I think we always try to reach out to the sororities especially and get them involved in whatever we're doing.
okay, if people want to see the show, it's going to be in the Jack Morton Auditorium?
No.
No.
It's not
this
going
year.
to be in the Jack Morton Auditorium.
Okay, where is it?
The current location is to be announced soon. I think it's probably going to be in the second floor lobby of the MPA building. February 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Thursday, it's going to be at 7, and Friday and Saturday at 8 p.m.
Okay, well,
Well, we just want to turn the table around and ask you a couple questions really quickly. It's kind of a tradition in the monologues to participate with the audience a little bit, and so we want to ask you some of the traditional vagina monologue questions.
all right.
If your vagina could talk, what would it say?
Oh my gosh.
What
I
would
have
it
no
wear
idea.
if it could get dressed?
What would its name be?
And you actually ask people these questions.
Absolutely.
Catherine will be asking people these
I
questions.
will get in their face. Absolutely.
In their laps?
Yeah, in their laps and in their face about it. So it's really about interacting with the piece itself. So that's why we ask the audience to participate. So they're not just watching, but they can interact with the people as well.
What kind of responses do you get to questions like that?
Oh man, we got some good ones last year. I mean, of course there are people who are like, "Oh my God, they're asking me about my vagina!"
Just like don't say anything.
Yeah, and they just kind of look at you like deer in headlights. But we get like really good ones. Like someone was asked last year, like, "What does your vagina smell like?" And he was like, "A grilled cheese sandwich."
Yes.
Where does that come from? Like, I've never encountered that. So you get some really clever people who are like on their toes. And we definitely ask guys these questions too. So you're not the first guy that I've asked,
Yeah.
So
Well, if you haven't noticed, I'm avoiding the question.
yeah, I know.
Asking
I
the
know
question.
you are. Yeah. We're aware. Well, when you come see the show, I'll ask you
All
then
right,
too.
absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
You can find out more about the Vagina Monologues and the Feminist Majority Leadership Alliance online at GWTelevision.com. You can watch us in full and find out specifically these specifics that we don't know yet. I'm Andrew Springer. Thanks for joining us.
Thank
Thanks.
you.